What if you could remember everything that mattered to you? Ideas, notes, PDFs, messages, and store it somewhere safe, searchable, and private. I've built exactly that. A RAG-enabled second brain that connects Supabase, Telegram, and OpenAI to give you instant answers from your own knowledge base. In this video, I'll show you how to build it step by step. It'll ingest your content, it'll generate embeddings and store them in Supabase. I'll build the Telegram bot to query it, and it'll generate context-aware responses using OpenAI. So let me pop over to Telegram and show you how this works. And if you want this workflow, just leave a comment on the video and I'll be more than happy to share the JSON file with you. So here's an interesting video I found about how to stop procrastinating. And I want to save the contents of this video to my second brain. So let me go ahead and grab this URL, go over to Telegram web, and I've got my second brain bot here. Paste in the URL and hit send. And that is going to trigger this workflow, which is live, and you'll see that an execution has started. And once this execution completes, we'll get a confirmation message in Telegram web that the transcript has been saved to the second brain. And you can see we've received a message saying the content was successfully added to our second brain. So let's go ahead and now query the second brain and ask it to give us tips about how to avoid procrastination. So here we go. We have a really incredible response pulled from the second brain about the question that I asked it. So I can feed it a YouTube video. I can also feed it a PDF. So let me show you how that would work. I actually have a PDF open over here. I'm just going to go ahead and drag that in. Let's go ahead and send that. This is just a random paper that I found online. So it was successfully added to the second brain. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and query the database again. What can you tell me about the your tests? And let's see what this pulls up. So beautiful. We have all of this information that we pulled from the second brain. So the second brain is a really powerful tool to remember anything that you want to remember. So let me go ahead and dive into n8n and show you how this works. So here is the second brain agent. So let me dive into these executions and show you what is actually going on. So I have this execution. This is the YouTube transcript. I'm going to copy this to the editor, and you can see the data that actually flowed. So we start with a Telegram trigger. That Telegram trigger then goes into a switch. Now, in this switch, I have a couple of rules set up where we're looking for a document or a voice note or a message text which contains this string, that's for YouTube URLs, or another message text which contains this string, which is also for YouTube URLs, and a fallback output, which means if it doesn't fit any of this, if it does not fit any of this, if it's not a document, it's not a YouTube video, then it's a fallback output, meaning I am mostly asking it a question. So let's go ahead and see what happened next. So the first thing that we tried to add was a YouTube video. So you can see that the YouTube video route was activated and it went down to the YouTube transcript node. So the way we grab the YouTube transcript is using Apify. And for Apify, I have my credentials set up. So this is the Apify HTTP request. I have using this actor over here, which is this one, the YouTube Transcript Ninja. It's fairly efficient. It's fairly cheap. I tried quite a few before I settled on this one. It works pretty well. I have a generic auth setup. I've got my API key saved in n8n. And all we're doing is passing this body request, which you can find from here. If you click on JSON, you'll see this is the body that we're looking for. This is the body where I don't want timestamps for now. Language is default, and this is the URL. So you go back here, we can see that this is what we're looking for. And all we're doing for the URL is we're passing the text that we received from Telegram. Once this actor starts running, I've got a wait node set up, and we're going to wait for 45 seconds just to let the Apify node finish running. So once the wait node is complete, we're going to do another HTTP request again to Apify, and this time it is to get the results from the last run. This is the URL that we're looking for, and we have to pass in the data ID that we got as a response from the earlier HTTP request. And that's all we're sending, and we have to send the authorization as well. And the response that we receive from this node is the entire transcript. Now that transcript then gets passed into OpenAI, where we're going to message a model. So this model takes the messy transcript and turns it into a well-formatted article, and that article is then passed to add to our vector store. Now, in order to set up a vector store, the first step is we're just going to grab the edit fields node and we're going to make a text body variable, which is the content of the message received from OpenAI, this one over here. And then you want to add a Supabase vector store node. So the vector store is a way to store information in a RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation database. Now, in order to set this up, you want to head over to supabase.com. Now, once you're in Supabase, you want to click on New Project and set up your project. I've already got mine, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my Second Brain project. Now, once you're in the project, the first thing you want to do is if you pop over to the Supabase documentation, we'll see that Supabase already has a tutorial for setting up a vector database within Supabase. So all you want to do is just go ahead and copy this entire bit of code over here, and then go into your project, go into the SQL editor over here, paste your entire code, and you want to run this. Right? And once you run this, it is going to set up a documents table. Right, and that documents table is where all of your RAG content is going to live. So just running this code is going to set that up automatically. That's all you need to do. And finally, you'll need to go into your project settings, grab your API key, and set that up with Supabase to create your Supabase account. And once that's done, you can just choose the table, which is the documents table, right? And the query name is going to be match underscore documents. Now, to this Supabase vector store, you need to create you need to attach an embeddings node. So the embeddings is just use the OpenAI account and use text embedding 3 small, which is fine for most basic usage. And if you're wondering what embeddings are, embeddings basically convert text into numbers. And then when you ask a question to your RAG database, your question is then converted into numbers, and then those numbers are compared against the numbers in your database. And whatever matches is the output that you get. And that's an oversimplified explanation of how retrieval augmented generation works. So you have your embeddings connected. You also need to connect a default data loader. You want to keep it as JSON, load specific data. Make sure you've got the correct variable, which is the text body variable that we set here. And you also need to add some kind of chunking or text splitting. And for most uses, just use recursive character text splitter. To go ahead and click the plus icon, you'll have a few choices, and just use the recursive character text splitter because this is recommended for most use cases, right? So leave this as default as well. And this is all set up. And once the content is successfully added to the vector store, you want to add another Telegram node. And all this Telegram node does is it just notifies you that the content was successfully added to the second brain. So this is how you set up Supabase and Apify to save YouTube videos. Now let me go back into executions and I'll show you how the PDF reader went as well. So that is this execution, I believe. Let's copy this to the editor, unpin all that data. And here is a workflow for reading content from a document and saving that to your second brain. Just like before, you start with the Telegram trigger. And this time, since I've already got this switch node set up, this time the document route was activated because I sent it a PDF. Now, when the document route is activated, the next node to add is the Telegram get file node, and that is going to download the PDF that I sent it. Perfect. Once that PDF is downloaded, you want to use the extract from file node, which is going to pull all the text from the PDF. And you'll see that you get all the text over here. Perfect. And finally, we want to message the OpenAI model to summarize this entire document into something a bit more usable. So you are a helpful assistant. I will provide you with the text of a document. I want you to turn the document into an article that covers all the main learnings and points. You want to pass the title if the document has a title. If there's no title, it's just going to be blank, which is fine. And you also want to pass the text of the document over here. And once this OpenAI model is done, you want to use GPT-4o, not MIDI, because this might use a bit more. This might end up using a few more credits because the file could be larger, the document could be longer. And here's the output where all the learnings from the document were summarized very nicely into an article. Once the article is summarized, it goes back into the edit fields node that I had set up earlier. And the process repeats itself where it goes into the vector store, it creates embeddings, it's added to the vector store, and a Telegram message is shot out confirming that the content has indeed been added to the database. So that was for remembering contents of YouTube videos and remembering the contents of documents. So now let me go back into executions and show you how the retrieval system works. Now, when I sent it a message again, there was no document, there was no YouTube video. So it triggered the fallback node. And that fallback node then goes into the vector store agent. And I'm just using an edit fields node because if I send it a voice note, I want it to get the file, transcribe the recording, and then combine this output and the fallback output into a single field that will then be passed into the AI agent. And this is just the regular AI agent node that you have in n8n, right? That's pretty simple. And I've connected the output to Telegram as well because I want the once all of this processing is done, I want the vector store agent to reply to me on the same Telegram bot. So the tool that I have provided is a vector store. This time the operation is retrieve documents because I want to pull things out of the vector store. The name of the vector store is Second Brain. The description is Second Brain Retrieval. And the table name is documents, which we had set up in Supabase. Leave the limit at 4, and the query name is match documents as we had set up in the earlier Supabase vector store node. And for that, again, you want to set up the embeddings and make sure that the embeddings are is the same as the one that you use for loading the information. So again, text embedding 3 small. That's what I have set up back here. And to this agent, I have also connected an OpenAI chat model. 4o mini is fine because I just want to pull information, process it, and output it. And I have also added chat memory to this as well. Now, instead of the simple window buffer memory, I've set up Postgres chat memory. This is going to save all of the chats that I've had with my second brain in Supabase. And in Supabase, I have a table called n8n chat histories, which is going to maintain a record of all the chats that I've ever had. This could be very useful if you want to remember what you've looked up and how many times you've looked that up. Now, in order to connect Postgres, you need to set up your credentials. So if I create a new credential, it's going to ask for all of this information. And this information you can find by going into Connect in your Supabase admin and find the transaction pooler and collapse the view parameters. And when you collapse view parameters, you will find matching fields for all of this, which you just have to copy paste and make sure you add the database password that you had set up when you set up your new project. And once you have all of that entered in, you can just go ahead and hit save, and it's going to create your Postgres credential. And just give your table a name, n8n underscore chat underscore histories, and the context window length is 5. So there you have it, a fairly simple second brain setup where you can save the contents of any YouTube video, save the contents of any PDF document, and chat with whatever information that you have saved, all through the convenience of Telegram. If you enjoyed this content, I would really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, and do remember to subscribe to the channel for more on AI, automation, and AI agents.